I'm gonna show you the real reason your best remote people are coasting, and it's not because they're lazy. It's because you created an environment that lacks ownership, leadership, and no career growth path for your top A players. And if you don't fix this now, more people are going to start checking out mentally and then physically and find another company that will take them. Stick with me because I'm gonna break down these three things. 1, how to prevent emotional checkouts before it happens. 2, how to reignite performance when this does happen to you. And 3, build a real leadership team and systems that keeps your A players engaged, challenged, and growing. And look, I've hired over 2,000 people for hundreds of different companies and 50 plus for my own company. And when I first started and people were coasting inside of my company, I thought it was because they didn't care or they were lazy. But here's what I learned. When people don't see a clear growth map, when people don't value the leadership in place, and when people don't know what leveling up looks like inside of the company, they start checking out. And sometimes this happens within the first 30 days. Sometimes this happens within the first 6 months. Just like it's your job to make sure that you brought in the right people and they're hitting KPIs and they over deliver, they have to make sure the same thing happens for them. Because if they don't, they mentally check out. And slowly but surely, they either underperform where you fire them, or they find a way better opportunity. And remember, a true A player will never let this type of situation hurt their results. So we're talking about the A players here, because these A players, while they might not hurt their performance, they're looking for another job. They're finding a way to slowly but surely leave and find someone that's gonna take better care of them and help them be valued by providing them a career trajectory, clear leadership, and a way to continuously level up. So what I did a couple years ago, I built a remote checklist, but not a real impeccable culture. And until I figured out what to do, I kept losing these A players. So let's dive in so I can help you avoid this at all costs and save your current A players or future ones that are gonna be joining your company. The moment a true A player hits their ceiling is the moment they start checking out mentally. The problem is you gave these people a job, not a journey. And here's what happens. You hire this A player, they crush it for 1, 2, maybe even 3 months, and then nothing. No next steps, no roadmap for growth, and these people feel stuck because a true A player wants to continuously level up their skill sets, their paycheck, and their overall growth inside of the company. Again, guys, we are talking about A players. I'm not talking about a B player that will be hitting their numbers, clocking in and clocking out. You will need some of those people, but in the beginning, especially within your first 10 to 20 team members, you want A players. You want people who take ownership of the role, and it is your responsibility to make that happen. So what happens after these 3 things I just went over, these A players start plateauing because they want more. They want to feel like they're leveling up. They want to feel like they're growing. And this will lead to them adding more value to the company, which means that they deserve a better pay. And they understand this. In order for them to go from, let's say, $1,200 a month to $2,000 a month, right? Obviously, it's not going to happen within the first two weeks, right? But there needs to be a trajectory towards that. What will it take for them to grow from $1,200 to $1,400 to $1,700 to $2,000 to beyond that, right? And it might take a year, it might take 2 years, but there needs to be a North Star for them to follow. Here's the absolute truth that most founders tend to ignore. Your culture is shaped more by the people you promote rather than the people you hire. You can't scale with stagnant team members. You can't scale with a team full of B players, people who clock in and clock out. And you definitely cannot scale with the wrong leaders. If you want a team that grows with you, not away from you, you need a system that nurtures talent fast, promotes the right people, and drives performance before problems arise. And if you want help building that, that's exactly what we do at Remote Latinos. Like I mentioned before, we've placed over 2,000 people for hundreds of different businesses, working with influencers like Eddie Malouf, Ryan Pineda, Nick Perry, and many, many others. And on a regular basis, we are finding the world's best talent here in Latin America, or really all over the world. We also hire in Egypt, South Africa, and many other countries. So if you're looking for an appointment setter or a closer or a client success manager or even a video editor, head over to remotelaatinos.com, schedule a call with our team, and let us help you find your next A player. So let's dive in how you prevent a lot of these red flags that I mentioned earlier. Number one, you want to build a clear growth path and trajectory for every single role and department within your company. What does the first 30, 60, 90 days look like? Then the next quarter, then the following 6 months, and then the first year. What does that look like? I would focus at first within the first year before doing a 3 to 5 year plan. Because if you do not know even how to build a 1 year plan, you're gonna struggle building a 2, 3, 4 year plan. If you're wondering how to build this, is you can create a very powerful prompt using ChatGPT or Google Gemini by following this prompt. I want to create a clear growth trajectory for X role within my company. My company is X, we do XYZ, we've been doing this for XYZ, and currently I need this role to do XYZ. In the future, I want this role to do XYZ, however, I don't want it to do LYP. Something along those lines. I'm giving you a brief summary, but I would create a very, very powerful prompt. And then once it creates that roadmap, I would review it and then create another prompt with this. You should go back and forth with ChatGPT for at least 3 to 5 prompts until you have a clear pathway for the first 30, 90, and 365 days for each role and department. Keep that in mind because every department is gonna have a leader, but some of those departments are just gonna have people who come in and do the job. So what does that look like within the next 3, 6, 12 months versus what does the person within that department look like? How did they level up? What does it take for them to become a leader? What does it take for them to make more money? Number 2, develop a leadership bench. When I first started in my business, I didn't have leaders. I was doing everything. However, I had people that had leadership potential. I had people that stepped up as leaders even when I didn't ask them. And that's when I realized I have some leaders, they're just on my bench. A leadership bench comes from a sports terminology, meaning someone that's on the bench, someone that's gonna come into the game, maybe when the team is crushing it or someone is hurt. Now, if you don't have leaders, you absolutely need to do this. And you want to start planting seeds with specific people and giving them opportunities to lead. A true leader will go above and beyond for you when you don't even ask them to. They'll stay a little bit later, crush the goal, but they're going to also over-deliver on top of that goal. They're going to work weekends. They're going to do whatever it takes to help the company, and they're going to make it feel like it is their company. Okay? Some people will show you that in the beginning. Other people need to be taught how to become a leader. They have a lot of the leadership capabilities. For example, they're a great communicator, but they haven't never been in a leadership role. So this is when you either start learning how to teach them to become a leader, because a true leader builds other leaders, and you start giving them leadership tasks. Okay, outside of just hitting their KPI and their performance, what else can they do to prove to you that they can eventually run a department? For example, building or rebuilding your SOPs. Another example would be maybe leading a training if you already have a few people in that company under the same department. Remember, you're not initially promoting them, you're just testing them. Just like if I'm an NFL team, I have 53 people on the roster, but only 24 of them are actually gonna touch the field. Sorry, only 22 of them are gonna touch the field. I need to have a lot of bench players, because if someone gets hurt and I give the opportunity for the bench player, but that bench player sucks, well, I better be prepared, right? So if you give this person a chance and they're not a good leader, that's okay, because ultimately they failed the leadership test. Don't promote the wrong people. Like I mentioned, that is going to be the face of your problems if you promote the wrong people. Everything comes and goes as leadership comes and goes. Number 3, create real-time performance visibility. Every person on your team should know what greatness looks like, how they're currently doing, what they need to do to level up, and what leveling up looks like, who's thriving, who's slipping, and what's being done about it. This is especially done when you have a small team, of course, if you have a team of 20, 30 people, not everybody needs to know this. But when you have a smaller team, each person needs to understand, especially the people with leadership capabilities, or they're going to be put into a leadership role. They need to have these awarenesses. If they don't, they're not going to be able to help you make the right decisions for the company. And everything is always going to boil down to you. And you don't want that. You want to stay away from making every single decision in your company, because until you remove yourself from that, the company is always 100% going to rely on you. All right, guys. So let's say your A player is already checked out. You can tell they're disengaged, they're quiet in meetings, they're not normally themselves. What do you do? Well, number one, you want to address it. You never want to address it in front of the team or in front of a group chat. You always want to address it on a one-on-one basis. And you want to ask them, hey man, or hey woman, I see that something is a little off. Your energy is not there. I'm not really sure what it is. Things were turned down. Things were turned in a little bit late. There were some mistakes here. Can you open up to me and tell me what's going on? I just want to make sure that we're on the same page and, I'm not missing anything. They might not tell you exactly what the answer is, but you want to pull it out of them because clearly something is wrong. Now, there's two situations that could happen here. One, they could have a personal matter at home that they are not comfortable telling you, whether maybe it was a death in the family, an accident, something happened that they're not comfortable with telling you yet. However, you want to make sure that you get at least to know that there's a problem within their personal life, that it's not something to do with the business. Because if it's number two, which is the business, and they don't feel appreciated, they don't feel valued, they feel like they're being overworked, they feel like they're burning out, that's on you 100% to figure out how to change that. And remember, A players are going to bring this up to you, but some A players are a little bit more to themselves and they always want to figure things out. And sometimes they don't know how to communicate the feeling of burning out. And this is something that's happened to me, and I actually got a chance to save one of my best workers ever last year because I didn't realize how much I was burning her out. I kept giving her clients. She was one of our client success managers, and I kept giving her clients and I kept giving her projects to the point where she almost wanted to cry because she couldn't say no to me because she always wanted to over-deliver and do the best job. And she, out of nowhere, just resigned. And it broke my heart because I know she loved working here. I know I treated her well. We paid her well. We took great care of her, but I overlooked the fact that she was burning out. I overlooked the signs of her being burned out. Even though if she didn't tell me, I should have taken responsibility and seen the fact that that was happening. Thankfully, we were able to retain her, and she's been with us for almost 3 years coming up this year. So I'm just letting you guys know that it's your duty and responsibility to catch this early on, because if you don't, these people are gonna leave. And this girl that I'm telling you guys the story about, she didn't even have a job lined up. She was just gonna quit and take like a 1 or 2 week break, maybe even a month break. That's when you know it's bad. Now, if they leave you for a different company, maybe it's better pay, that's a different situation. But if they quit without a backup plan, that's the biggest disrespect ever. Secondly, you need to decide. You're either gonna realign with this person or fire them. Now, if you have this conversation that I just mentioned and you realign with them and you set clear expectations and you understand that some of it is on you, the CEO, the founder, or the manager, that's fine. And then there's realignment, there's new expectations, and let's rock and roll. Great. If not, and you realize that this person's actually, they're not doing what they're supposed to do, they're distracted, maybe they have a second job, whatever the case may be, they need to consider firing them. And you need to consider, before that, putting them on a PIP, a performance improvement plan. If you comment the word PIP, I can show you what we do for our PIPs. So comment the word PIP below and I can send you our PIP guideline. PIP is, again, a performance improvement plan. So before we fire anybody, we always put them on a performance improvement plan to give them a chance. And if they pass, they have a chance to stay. If they don't, which most of the time they don't, we let them go and we either find a replacement or we figure out what to do with that position. Okay, so you need to decide on realignment or releasing them. Lastly, guys, here's how we as remote Latinos stay ahead of these problems on a regular basis. One, we have weekly leadership meetings where we all sync up and we talk about the good, the bad, the ugly, the pretty, and everything going on in our teams and things that we need to work on and systems that we need and automations that we need and people that we need to let go. And everybody's on the same page at all times. We have a small leadership team. It's just 5 of us. And these are people that I trust, people that have been here. They've earned their stripes. They're people that have wanted to be leaders from day one. And they're people that have proven to me that they can become leaders because I give them leadership tasks. I don't give them the normal tasks for their job. I also give them leadership tasks like I just mentioned. Number 2, we have monthly check-in one-on-ones with every single team member. Now, we have regular meetings as departments, and some people have one-on-one meetings, but every single month there is a one-on-one collaboration meeting specifically with the department leader and one of the people within the role to go over specifically how the month went, what we need to do for next month, KPIs, reviews, how they're feeling, ups, downs, positive, negatives, cons, pros, whatever it may be. Okay, with this, we also have regular reporting, end of day, end of week, and end of month reporting. So if at any time we see someone lacking on this, slacking on this, or overall just not doing it, we call them out. If they do it and it's just not done the way we want it, we call it out every single time. And lastly, we avoid this by our recruiting process. We have the growth trajectories. We have the proper onboarding. We have the roadmap in place. So we avoid this because we onboard people that we know that want to be here. We onboard people that understand what the future here looks like, how they can go from where they are now to where they want to be, how they can go from where they're getting paid right now to where they want to get paid. We are overly prepared within every single department because if we're not, we do not hire for that role because we know it's going to cause chaos. So guys, thank you so much for watching the video. If you want to learn a little bit more about what it's like to hire appointment setters, I made a video on my channel and you can check that out. And again, I appreciate you watching. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. False.